No, recording is on. So I have got it. So for the one more column, I am doing this. AMD dollar new is the type of engine we have taken. Now number of gears, number of gears, the forward gears what we are talking. So we write number of gears. It is a new column. It will be the 30th column. If else MD dollar AM equal to 0, it should be automatic, and otherwise manual. Does that make sense to everyone? And I run this, I am getting 13th column. If I show you here, you will see it is the manual for 1 and 0 is automatic. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Now these two columns, VS and AM, is not usable for me in the further analysis. They are not important for me now. So I remove them. So how I could remove these columns, I will show you. AMD dollar VS, and I just put the null in capital. Okay, I run this. So you will get there are 13 variables in the global environment. Here there will be 12 variables. I also remove AM, which is not useful for me now. And there are 11 variables again, and I don't have those two columns here. This is the type of engine and the number of gears. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So we have converted two columns in a categorical. Now we have to see which variable is continuous or which is discrete. Okay, second thing we have to see this. It is a univariate analysis. When we get the data, we have to work with each column, each variable, and every data analyst has to spend more than 60% time in the data preparation, and the 20-30%, 40% time to understand the data, then changes in the data and the feature selection, feature engineering, so many things over there when we work in a real-time project. So now we see the we have to check whether which variable is a continuous or which is discrete. So we will use the unique function AMD dollar. So I will get the all drop down variables name. First variable name I am selecting, and I see that the out of 32 observations, I am getting 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 unique values. So there are too many unique values. So is it continuous or discrete? Mileage is continuous or discrete variable? Can somebody explain me? Yeah. Is it discrete or continuous? I explained you in the first session.
Discrete, sir.
Discrete. Why? We have only 32 observation. Out of 32, we are getting 25.
We can measurable now, sir.
Huh?
Yes,
With respect to the volume,
sir, we
is
can
it
measurable
discrete
now.
or continuous? Huh? Please, someone else can. Is it discrete or continuous? We have only 32 observations. Out of 32, we are getting 25 unique values.
Continuous.
Hmm? Yeah. It is continuous variable. We have so many unique values. Okay. Does that make sense to you? Continuous. Now I see another variable, MD dollar cylinder. Is this continuous or discrete? Yeah,
Discrete, sir.
discrete, correct, right. There are very few unique values we have, 3 unique values. So it is a discrete. Okay. Similarly, we will do it for some other variables, all the variables. We have all the variables in numeric except type of engine and which we have converted to. Now, what will we do with discrete variable? I explained these earlier, you all.
Convert into factor or something like that, sir.
Correct, right. We convert the variables which look like discrete in factor. Does that make sense to everyone? So the cylinder variable we convert in factor. Is there any doubt? If you have any doubt, any query, you could ask me. Okay. So we convert these in factor, cylinder. So how we convert this? MD dollar cylinder S dot factor MD dollar cylinder. Only this we have to write. It will be converted in factor now. Now I will show you the structure again. Previously we have all columns were numeric. Now these two columns, the last two columns, type of engine and the number of gears are character, because we have taken this in this way, categorical. And this cylinder is a factor with 3 levels, 4, 6 and 8. For 4 it is the first level, second 2 is for 6 and third level is for 8. Does that make sense to everyone? One, two, three, one level, second level, third level, 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Now, one by one, you have to check all the variables, but I know already, so I just convert the gear and carburetor in factor because I know both are discrete. There are very few values. So I will convert gear and carburetor in factor. MD dollar gear S dot factor.
Sir,
Yeah.
why do we convert discrete into factor? Can you please tell us again?
Discrete into factor. Because
Yes.
the discrete variable we have the limited elements or the values, no, we repeat, which repeats again and again. So it treats as a categorical variable. We treat it as a categorical variable. Okay, I will show you in the summary. Okay, I will show you in the summary. Suppose I don't change this gear and I show you the summary. Okay, without changing it, first I show you the summary, then later I will change it. In the summary, we get 6-point summary. 6-point summary means we get in the numeric data, we get the minimum value of the variable, first quartile of the variable, median of the variable, mean of the variable, third quartile of the variable, and the maximum value of the variable. So it is the minimum mileage in the 32 cars. This is the maximum mileage of the within 32 cars. This is the mean mileage 20.09. This is the median mileage, and the first quartile of the mileage. This is the third quartile of the mileage. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Here I am taking gear. Gear is in integer form, no? Is a natural number. And here I am getting the mean is to 3.688 of the gear. Is it viable? Gear may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. 5 gears in the car, 7 gears in the car. 3.5 gear is possible. Can somebody tell me?
No.
Number of carburetor would be like this. This is a 1 carburetor, 2 carburetor, 3, but 2.8 carburetor is possible.
No, sir.
So we convert this discrete variable in factor. So here you see cylinder I have converted in factor. So what I am getting? 4-cylinder vehicle, I have 11 cars having 4-cylinder. Does that make sense to everyone? Is it clear to all? 7 car has 6-cylinder and
Yes.
14 car have 8-cylinder. Does that make sense to everyone? So
8 cylinders.
this summary is better for this sort of discrete
Yes,
data.
yes. That's really helpful.
But here you see the type of engine and the number of gears. We are not getting any sort of summary. We are just getting the length 32, the total observation, and the class of the character, and the mode is character. But I want this also in this way. How many automatic, the type of engine we have seen the V-shaped, how many car of V-shaped engine, how many car of straight engine. I want that thing here. So what I have to do, I have to convert this character variable also in factor. Does that make sense to everyone? Then I could get that summary, frequency table, which I have got here. Okay. So I will convert this in factor. I will convert this. I will convert this and convert this in factor. I will convert separately each because I have not taught you about the for loops and this all. Otherwise, I could use the for loop and I could convert these variables. I will make a list and I could convert them all together. But here I will convert separately one by one. MD dollar. After the gear, we want carburetor. S dot factor. This I have done. Then MD dollar, type of engine, S dot factor, MD dollar, number of gears, now I will show you the summary again. Look at now. This is the table. Here I am getting the table. The state is 14. 14 cars have straight engine, 18 have V-shaped engine. Here you see number of gears, 19 car have automatic and 13 has the manual gear. And here the carburetors, here you see the 15 car has 3 gear, 12 has 4 gear, and therefore number of forward gears. 3 gears, 4 gears, and this number of forward gears, number of gears, and this gear is what? Oh, this is the number of, type of gear. It is type of gear, so I will just change the name. It is not the number of gears, it is the type of gears. Sorry, I just change it. Here is that. gear. What? Type of gear. Oh, it is number of gears. Still number of gears. Okay. Run from front. See the structure, type of engine, type of gears, VSNL, cylinders. See the type of gears. Okay. Now we see the summary. Or summary we have to see. You see, these are all factor now. The type of engine is factor, and type of gear is also factor now, which were the previously the character, and the carburetor and the number of gear is here. So you see, we have got the number of gear 3. Have five vehicles have number of gear 3. 12 has 4, and the 5 is 5. And the carburetor number of one carburetor in 7 vehicle, 2 carburetor in 10, and this way it is going. This summary we are getting the 6-point summary in the numeric data, and the contingency table we are getting in that categorical data, the factor or what. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sir.
First thing is the structure. Second thing we have understand about the summary. But in summary, we are only getting the 6 points. We are not getting a standard deviation. We are not getting that IQR and these all things. So I try. If individually we have to find out the mean, what I will use? Mean MD, dollar mileage. So I will get the mileage mean. If I want to know the SD of a particular column of a numeric column, so I will get this. Is it okay? And I want the IQR, interquartile, which is a capital. So MD dollar mileage. So I'm getting the IQR, interquartile range. And I want mean absolute deviation, MD dollar mileage. So I'm getting the mean absolute deviation. Does it make sense to everyone? And then I want maximum, minimum. So you could write the minimum and MD dollar mileage, minimum, maximum, MD dollar, whatever the variable name you will write, you will get that thing. And SD and what remains? Standard deviation, mean absolute deviation. Now I want to measure the skewness of this. So if I write the skewness, I will get the error. Why I am getting it? Because could not find the function skewness. So we have a requirement of one library, which we use the psych library, PSYCH psych library. Then we could find out the, after importing this library, if I want, so it is the positively skewed. Sorry, it is positively skewed now. Does that make sense to everyone? It is more than 0.5. So it is positively skewed. Does that make sense to everyone? So we have seen the central tendency, we have seen the variance here, the standard deviation and the IQR and the mean absolute deviation. And the range, we could find out the range also, and the base function, MD dollar mileage. It is the range. Range is the minimum value and the maximum value at the minimum it is giving us, and we could subtract it and we could find the range. So these are the few statistics we get, but we want the whole statistics all together. So in the scikit library, I have a function describe MD. We'll see. This is a variable number. It is not a that variable. It is a variable number. These are all variables, and first variable, second variable. In this way, it is the number of observations. This is the mean. This is the standard deviation. This is the median. This is the trim. This is the mean absolute value, minimum, maximum, range, skewness, kurtosis, and standard error. So we are getting 12 points only over here. But whenever you see the asterisk symbol, then it is a categorical factor element, character or factor. So we don't have to rely consider these statistics of these variables wherever you see the asterisk symbol. You don't consider these statistics. Okay, that is, they are the categorical variables basically. Does that make sense to everyone? Is there any doubt?
So, but like in the summary, we just converted type of engine, type of gas into factor. So
Yeah.
here, why do we not get that value here in the
Because
scikit
it is
library?
it is a library psychology, a psych library we are using. They have not given that algorithm in their function, in this describe function. Okay.
Okay.
So suppose I have to find out the mean of columns. You know, col means. So I will write the col means. Col means MD. So I will, oh, X must be numeric. It is not numeric basically, because whatever we have few columns we have in the factor form or in categorical basically. So we could not find the mean of all variables. So col means will not work over here. So what I do, I take few numeric variables only and make another data frame. So I'm making MD1. Okay, and MD1 I am getting the variables from MD. I'm selecting few variables. The columns I am selecting mileage, trot, horsepower, weight, usage, weight, horsepower. Okay, it's okay. And MD1 data frame I am creating this one. Object MPG is not found. Why it is giving it MD, because I am taking the R base function, so it is required. I'll just write this. Let's see. Now I run this and I see what happens. Oh. कहाँ हो गया MD? Why it is not working? I am selecting this column from MD. To put in this, I will see. Just I check it. I just do. works or not. It is working. Okay, we have to write in the quotes here. So drought and what we have, horsepower, and then we have weight, and then we have Q-sec. Okay. All this. You see, I have MD1 having 5 observations, so I will show you this. Now I could find out the col means of this, column means of MD1. So I will get the each column mean here. Does that make sense to everyone? I want to find out the row means also. I will get the mean of all 32 rows. Row wise mean I am getting. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So we have these functions where we could find it out, and if you find the call sums instead of mean, if you find the summation, so MD1, we get the sum of all columns. Okay. Row sums also you could find out. Call minimum, call maximum you could get here, all column together. All minimum. I think it should work. I just try this. No, this function is not there. If I write this, I don't know this. I have not used any time. Okay, so it will not work. So these are few functions we use in R, and these are all about. This is the univariate analysis we are doing with the this numeric variables. We are getting the mean and the standard deviation, which I explained yesterday. We require two things only: the mean and the dispersion. Through this, we could understand the data. And third thing was the shape of the data. So we see how we get the shape of the data. So I just increase the area of this plot, where I will get the plot here. So what I am doing, I want to make a histogram, and histogram I have to just write the history. An MD dollar, which variable you want to make the histogram. Histogram is for the continuous variable. So you will get it is my continuous variable. So can someone explain me whether it is normal or skewed? Yeah. Can someone tell me? Yeah. Positively skewed. Sudipta, correct. Ishita, correct. Skewed. Correct. Positively skewed. Arnab, Akash, Rahul, everybody is right. Okay, but you have not mentioned boys about the positive or negative skewed. Arnab has explained it, positive skewed. Akash also. Sudipta also told that positive skewed. Correct. Now, we also make one box plot. Okay, and we confirm the skewness with the skewness value. Okay. So,
Sir, when we are creating a data frame here, MD1 and then MD square bracket comma. So, sir, what does this comma signify?
comma we are taking because the before comma we write the row names.
Yes, sir.
So we are taking all row. We are considering all rows.
Acha, okay. Got
So
it.
whenever we require the all rows, we will keep it blank. We will
Okay,
don't
sir.
write anything here. Okay. If we want
Yes.
all column, only rows number, if you are writing the first before this comma, you have to write down the row,
Okay, sir.
and the after comma you don't have to write anything if you want all columns. Okay. This is the our basic we are doing. We have some library dplyr that is in the advanced course we will learn. That is very easy. Now we see the box plot also. Syntax are very easy of all. Our syntax is very easy. We won't get confused more. This is the box plot, and you see there is no outliers. Okay. Now we see the skewness. This 60.61 positive skew. You were right. It is greater than 0.5, so it is positive. Okay. So this data is positive skewed. Similarly, we could see for some other. Now, how we create the graph for this categorical data? So we create the bar plot for that, for understanding purpose. So we'll write the bar plot, and the bar plot we have to take the table, contingency table we have to write for that. Okay. We take the contingency table of which variable types of engine I see. Okay. So MD dollar types of engine. So I'm getting this VSET and the state. It is just for our purpose. If you want to put some color, you could fill it, but we are not taking that session here. That is the data visualization in the second R2. Okay. So you could get the plot in this way. You could understand the through the shape about the data. Okay. So this was all about the univariate analysis of the numeric data we have seen. Now we see how we do the univariate analysis of categorical data. So for that I am taking another data set which name is arthritis, and this data set is from a VCD library. So first I import the VCD library and I run this, and now I will call that data set arthritis. Okay. So I am giving the name df to that data frame arthritis. So this data set I have got. I will show you the description of that data set. DF84 observation 5 variables. If I show you this data set, so there is the IDs of the patients, treatment, sex, age, and improve. So 5 columns we have, and we see the structure of this. Before see the structure, we want to know the detail about this arthritis. So you will get these details of the arthritis, that data from Koch and Edwards 1988 from a double-blind clinical trial investigating a new treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. Data is arthritis data frame has 84 observation, 5 variables. The first variable is the patient ID, second is the treatment factor indicating placebo and treated. Can someone explain me what is placebo? Yeah. What does it mean by placebo? Can someone?
So placebo, there is a term called placebo effect, I think, which means instead of giving proper medicine, if you convey the patient that he's recovering by such kind of medicine, which is nothing but only water or something, and he's
Okay.
believing that it's working.
Correct. Pseudo medicine. We could say the pseudo medicine. It's not an actual drug, Mohammed. Correct. You are also correct.
That's it.
So it is a pseudo medicine. You could say, like if somebody is, so they make 2 groups or 3 groups, experimental group and the control group. In the control group, they give this sort of medicine, placebo treatment they give, and they see the psychological impact and whether this medicine is effective or not. Okay, so they check in this way. So that is the placebo, the pseudo medicine, and treated is the actual medicine they are giving to the patients. And this is the gender, we have female and male. Age of the patient is the numeric, and improved is the ordered factor indicating treatment outcome. It is the ordered factor, none, some, and marked improvement in the patient. Okay, three categories: none improvement, some improvement, marked improvement. So this we have in this data set. So I will show you the structure now. This is a structure. We have the 5 variables. First variable is an integer, which is a patient ID. Second is a treatment with 2 levels, factor with 2 levels, placebo and treated, 1 and 2, 1 for placebo and 2 for treated. Third is a sex, which is 2 levels, male and female. Age is an integer, 27, 29, 30. These are the age. And improved is an order factor with 3 levels, none, some, and mark. Okay.
So what is an order factor? Yeah.
Which one?
Order factor.
Order factor means none is lower than some and marked. It is some order is there.
Okay.
We could give the order just like you give the order the strongly disagree, Likert type scale we use sometimes. So we could
Yes,
we should take in a order factor. The strongly agree is the smallest one. Then
okay, sir.
agree, then no, strongly disagree, then not certain, then agree and strongly agree. So that is the order. Ordinal. That is the ordinal data basically. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
This is not a ordinal data, placebo and treated. Okay. Anyone you could write treated 1 and the placebo 2. There is no discrimination in between them. Okay, but here is a none, some, and marked is ordered. And how we do the univariate analysis of categorical variable. So first we make a contingency table. A contingency table I am making for the treatment first. Oh, MD I have taken DF instead of DF I have taken MD. So you see I am getting 43 placebo and 41 treated out of 84. We should not write this thing in this way, the frequency. We should not write the frequency over there. Frequency only in the histogram. We use the frequency only in the histogram, not in bar plot. Bar plot, we should use the percentage. Pie chart, we have to use percentage. So how we get the percentage of this? So I have a function prop.table, proportion, prop.table. And in this function, I will nest this function. Okay, nesting in the function we are putting another function. In the prop.table we are putting table function. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. If I run this, I will get the proportion. It is the 51, 0.51 and 0.48. But I want in percentage. And there are so many digits after decimal. So first I round it off, or then round it up to 2 decimal places, comma 2, and I will get this. If I just want in percentage, so I just multiply by 100. It is the 51% and 49%. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, it is now in percentage. Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Take your time to understand the syntax. Don't worry. If you have any doubt in this syntax, you could ask me. This is for the one variable only. Now I want to use the two variable. Okay, in the contingency table. First I make a table for df dollar treatment. Treatment I am taking on the x on the row side, and improved I take on the row side. Okay, it would be better. And treatment I am taking on the column side. So first whatever I will take, it will goes to rows, and the second will be on the column. And I will show you the table. This table I am getting. Okay. And if I take the prop table of this, and I give some name to it, tab 1. So it will be better for me. I have to just write down the tab 1 here. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't have to write this whole syntax inside this. I have given one object name to this. I will put that object name here. So it is now. So I will take it round off. 2 decimal places. I'm getting this. Okay. And I will multiply it by 100. If I multiply it by 100, how can you interpret it? How do we interpret this table? We will interpret that the 35% placebo, none improvement. It is from the total. Totally gross is 100 here now. So we could not interpret the two variable table, contingency table properly with the gross total 100, with the gross percentage. So we have to take the percentage either is the row wise or the column wise. So I am taking through the row wise or the column wise. We could take it. So the prop dot table function, we have one where I could put that. If I put 1, I will show you what will happen. So if you add this row wise summation we are getting, if you add this is the 100, this is 100, and this is 100. It is better than that. Now you could interpret it in a better way. In the patient having none improvement, 69% are placebo and the 31% are treated. Is it better than that interpretation or not? Yeah. If I put here 2, I will get the column wise. Look at this. I will get the column wise. It is, if you add this all, you will get the 100. But here, because there is some 0.5 thing is like that, so it will not get some 100. We will get the 99 over here. Here we will get the 100. Okay, so this is not a proper table, and this one would be proper because we are getting 100 everywhere. Here we are not getting 100. We are getting 99. Does that make sense to everyone?
So please discuss this again.
Here you see we have taken the total of this row is 100 percentage. 69 plus 31 is 100.
Yes, sir.
But here if we have taken here, I put the 2 for the column sum here in this way. So this is 100 and this is 100. But here because the 16 and 16 and you add on this, you will get the 99 over here.
Yeah.
No, because the 16.5 and the 16.5 both, so they are taking the 16. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? If I use here 4, and I will show you now, you could see it. Here you see 16.28 is 16 and 16.28 is also 16. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Or 67.44 is also 67 only. Round off, if we do the round off, then it is less than 0.5, so it will be on the greatest integer side. Okay. So I think this one would be better. We are getting the correct summation 100, 100, 100 row wise. Is there any doubt? Now we see the margin dot table. Margin dot table, I am taking out the table 1, so I will get the summation of all 84 observations we have. I am getting that. Okay. If I write 1, so it is the, you know that in the row side, it is give the summation of these observations. I will show you. First, I will show you tape 1, so you could better understand. I run the tape 1. It is the tape 1, it is the frequency table I have. Frequency contingency table. And if I running this, now you see it is the 42. So it is the sum is 42.
5.
Here 14 and here 28. Does that make sense to everyone? Margin dot table. If I write here
What
2,
happened?
2 will be always for column side. Okay. So it is
Yeah,
the
but-
column sum. You see
More.
the column sum is here 43. Okay, and here you see the column sum is 41. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
I have one add margins, one more add margin table.
What happened?
The add margin, I take the tape 1. What are you getting here? We are getting the summation of rows and columns both along with the contingency table. Okay. Add margins. If I write in the add margins 1, comma 1, then I will get column, the row sum is there. And if I get 2, then you will get the sum of column values. Okay. So these are the few table add margins and prop dot table and margin dot table. These are the very few functions. You have to practice it. You could make the good tables. Okay. I will show you some X table and the F table. I'm using X tape. X tapes. And here I will use that tape 1. Tape 1, you already know that. Oh, I will get the error here. Okay. I have to use the tilde sign here. Tilde. Then
Devang,
I will write placebo treatment. Treatment plus improved plus treatment. The data is here. I will show you that syntax. I will explain it later on. First, you see this. In this two table, what is the difference between except this? If I just okay, I just write the tab 1 also. In the tab 1 and this X steps, what I have taken the tilde improved plus here. Whenever we use the tilde sign, we will take the plus sign. We want to use the commas between the variables. Okay, and data will be at the last. Okay, the third argument would be the data. So what is the difference between these two? Tab 1 and X tab.
Datas are all same, but there is one part called improved.
Column name is there in the X tab. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Just my mic is. Able to you? Why it is giving the echo sound? Hello.
Sir, I think Sheila's mic is on. That is why it is echoing everywhere.
Hello. Is it audible now? Clear?
Yeah,
Yes,
now it's
now
okay.
it's all right, sir.
Okay. So there is a column name is there. Okay. And if we make, if we use three variables here, one is I'm taking sex also, and I run this. Here's sex variable.
S will be capital.
S is capital. You see, we are getting in this way. The third variable which we have taken, it is bifurcated according to that. The sex is female and sex is male. It is just like array. Okay, so female, it is giving the placebo is 19.6, and this way, whatever the female patients, these are the male patients. It is giving in this way. But we have one more option for the F table. Flat contingency table, it is called. In the F table, we write the variables. X tab we could write here, no? F table we could write the X tab also, not the X tab. We could write the variables in it. I just see that because I don't use it. Okay, X tab we could take X tab. So X tab I am giving tab 2 name, and that tab 2 I am putting in this F table. Look at this. It is better than that what we have used in the X table.
Finding everything in a single tab.
It is the improved, none placebo treated. These two. Some placebo treated, this marked placebo treated. We could transpose it later on. Okay. As in the, you see in that our Excel sheet, we make this sort of column merging, doing the merging, and then we make these sub columns. The same thing here is through the row side. Okay. You could see the F table in detail. We could write in this way also. The row variables 1, 2, 3, you know, and 1 to 2 variables in this way we could take it. F table of empty cars we could make. We make it. We do it. We try this. They have given them. What is that? F table I am taking for these empty cars, cylinder, VS, M, gears, and these all I am taking directly. So I am getting in this way. It is the gears 3, 4, 5 in the here, and this is the 4-cylinder. Their V vertical, then in their M 01, then 1, 01. In this way, we could make a table. Okay. They have not given any transpose, how to transpose this. Okay. So this was all about our categorical data. We could do in this way. Okay. And these are the cases here. I have written all the codes, and you have to read it, and you have to run it and understand what is there. Okay. This is all about our. One more thing I would like to explain about the, if you want to know about the quartile, then you could not find out the first and the third quartile here directly. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to use a quantile function. QU. Just a moment. QUNTI, quantile. And quantile, you want MD, dollar, mileage. So you will get the 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. 0% is the minimum value. 25% is the first quartile. 50% is the median. 75% is the third quartile. And 100% is the maximum value. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Is there any doubt? Yeah, we get only that bar plot for the categorical data. Okay. So, sir, in a time series data 100 years, how to get mean, median of particular month and the time series? We have to group by month that, and then you could find out the mean, averaging, Rahul. It will be in the further advanced courses. The thing is there. In the R2, there is a data preparation where we have these all things. How to group the data, okay, how to select the features, everything we will study in that R2. This is all about the univariate analysis. Few more things I would explain you here today. And tomorrow we will see some decision making process which we do in programming languages like the if statement, if else statement, some loops also, for loops, while loops, and repeat loops. Okay. Okay. Once library, how can we do that? Isita, I have explained it now. We have read the data yesterday or the day before yesterday, Excel sheet and CSV format. You have read it? I explained that thing. The same way, the read.csv. Okay. You could do in that way. There is no function for mode in this R. You know that. The mode is given some other algorithm or some other internal use. They have used it for their what we say the inbuilt function. They have used it. Okay. So we could not find out the mode here. We make a contingency table and then the highest frequency variable, the category we could choose as a mode. Akash. Okay. There is no separate function to find out the mode. And one more thing I would explain you. Just a moment. I share my screen first. What I want to explain. Oh, bivariate. Suppose we want to, for the bivariate data, like the mileage and this weight. So I'm putting mileage on the y-axis, weight on the x-axis. So MD dollar, mileage, weight on the x-axis, and mileage on the y-axis. Look at this. This is the scatter plot I have got. For our understanding, we could find out the correlation between two variables. So here you see it is the negative correlation because it is the x is increasing and y is decreasing. Or if you want to find out the correlation, you just write down the core. And these two variables, MD dollar, weight or mileage. And there is negative correlation 0.86, which is a high degree negative correlation between mileage and weight. So you could find out the correlation is the Karl-Pearson coefficient of correlation. There are all three types of correlation. You could find out Kendall correlation and rank, Spearman's rank correlation, and this all you could easily find it out. We have a different. And if I want, I will show you. If you get some confusion, if you stuck somewhere in syntax, just put the question mark and write that function name. So you will get that. Pearson, Kendall, and Spearman. If you want the Kendall, so you will see here. But this is a numeric data, so I prefer the Pearson for that. Okay. If it is the ranking data, then I will use the Spearman. Method I will write here first, and that is I have to write, and then I will put the handle, and this I have to put in the quotes. Okay. So it is the 0.72. Okay. but the Pearson is 0.86 because it is a continuous data, so we'll use the Pearson. So you could use the, or you could also search on the net if you get an stuck somewhere, but you will get all thing here. No problem. You just put the question mark, then write the
So,
whatever the function. Okay.
sir,
Yeah. Yeah.
if we use plot command, is it by default creates scatter plot?
No, it's if the both the numeric variable, then continuous variable.
Then we'll create only scatter plot.
You could create a line plot also there. Okay. So there is a visualization chapter separate we have in R2, which we start from Monday, and there we will explain each and every sort of visualization. The visualization is very pretty in the R. Hmm. Somebody asked me yesterday about the Shiny app. Who asked about it? Okay, Rajkumar, you asked about it. The ggplot here. ggplot. We do the ggplot in the data visualization. The Shiny is a very interactive. I will show you the power of R. You want to see the power of R? I will show you today the power of R. Okay. Mm, oh, that. I'm just saving over there some enumerate in handwriting. I see. Change that. Open. Pencil. What is happening with this? It will take a little time. Oh, it is not that project. It is, oh, sorry. I will open COVID, which I have. It is, I have dummy project. I have not opened. Oh, COVID-19. Okay, I will show you. There are so many. Yeah, we could generate the random number. I will show you. I'll show you. Just wait. I will explain you. It's very simple thing. Don't worry. I am fetching the real-time data. This is the confirmed cases in India. You see, it is the October, it is the up to now. This September is running, but it is not an interactive graph we have. We are not getting the value here, but the exact value what is here. So I will show you the power of R here now. How does it work? Okay. This is also not an interactive one, but I will show you. This is I have done some prediction here. Okay, the time series prediction I am doing here. So it is, you see, it is my prediction for next 30 days. Okay, it is you see the whole. It is the line is overlapping to these dots. Dots are the actual one, and it is very near to my prediction is very near, very close to that. And I make one two-part plot. Now, this is the thing what I want to show you. This is the power. Look at this. This is the interactive. So you see it is the 25th September, 2 days. My prediction was, and for yesterday I will get the data up to 24 because it has been not uploaded on the site. So as the 24th of September, the actual was 5.73 into 10 to the power 6. And I have predicted that 5.64 into 10 to the power 6. Does that make sense to you? This is the power of R. Or it is the very few syntax. I have not written a very big algorithm over here. Very few syntax I have used. You see, not the much more. 15-20 lines syntax I have written, I have got it. Or I will show you one more thing. One more visualization I will show you here. It is 165, but now I think it is 278. Why hate 278? Yeah, somebody is asking me some questions. This is the time series data of the confirmed cases, which I have taken through the API. Okay, I have merged so many APIs. I will show you. These are the APIs I have used, which were in the JSON format. I used these APIs. You see here, it is the 21 April to 26. Now, these APIs I have taken from the sites. It is the actual real-time data I am getting from there. And then I am merging it here and doing this. Okay. I write here 278. And I run this. Okay. And actual plot, AB line. No, plot is differ. XY coordinate 278 prediction actual right. And model data frame formula prediction actual drop and level to form the actual 278. The TCS2 variables where we are using the forecast Y8 278. Okay, that's no problem. I will use it. I will show here. There I have got some. It is the global confirmed recovered deaths and active cases I have done, but it is not. It is interactive only. But I want to show you something else. This I want to show you. You see this one. You could create this in R. It is the my monitor is small, not a big monitor. If you have the one has the big monitor, like very big monitor, you could see it. Okay, we could change this dimension also, but so this is the we could do so many things here because we have put the range in that way. The diameter is coming in that way because it was the previously before 4 months I have 3 months before 3 months I have created this model. So as per I have given the radius as per that data size. Now I will change the range. So here we are getting the Russia. You see there are 11 lakh 23,976 confirmed and 6,489 dead over there. No? Having the death in the with coronavirus. So you could see these all things, Afghanistan, everywhere. So I will change this. So it would be better. The circles would be smaller and you could see the countries. Okay. We have a different option here. So these are the power of R. Somebody asked me about the first random numbers. Okay, or not? You asked me about the random numbers. I explain you about the random number first. You have various random numbers: normal distribution, uniform distribution, beta distribution, and we should have the parameter. We should know the parameter of those. So suppose I am making a normal distribution random number. Suppose I want to create 1000 random numbers and I just click here, I will get it. I give some name. And I make one histogram of this. So I could see that whether it is normal or not. So it is a normal. Second thing, in default, the mean would be as a G scale. You know that the Z scale. So the mean would be 0 and the standard deviation would be 1 of this in default. So we see the mean of this near to 0 or not. So we see the mean is 0.02 and SD if I measure for this X, so I'll get the SD 0.99 which is very near to 1. Okay. If I want different, I don't want the default SD and the mean. I want my own SD and the mean. Suppose I want the SD 67 or mean is 67 and SD 11 of this 1000 data set. So I will fraction of second you will create very big size data set in R. And if I show you the histogram, you will see like this. Okay. And I will show you the mean. Mean we have taken 67, so it should be near to that. So it is 66.9 and it is 10.75. So it is a random. So whenever you use it, you want to again use it, then you use some set seed here. If you want different tomorrow, then no need of set seed. And next time you will get the different. Here we are getting now, if I again run this, so I will get the different histogram, different mean, different SD, but it would be near to that what we have. Okay. Sandeep, Arnav, you got it. R distribution, uniform distribution, you could also produce. There are so many, but it is later on the second R2. There is so many things. Regarding the probability distribution, there is an explanation about the all 11, 12 probability distribution. I will explain conceptually. Then we will do in it on R. Right? So these all things would be one by one. It's not a 6 days course basically. You are learning the data analytics, machine learning. So basically, it's a course of little bit as I am teaching, so I could finish in a 1.5 month overall. Okay, but in that also you have to do hard work there. Then you could learn it. Because the concept is also the somebody is a statistician, he doesn't have any problem. They will not get any problem. They could understand the concept. They just have to learn the R scripts and how we could apply R on the different statistical analysis. That is different. Sir, how do we gauge the initial parameters value to fit a data to a equation? What sort of equation you want to fit, Sandeep? And some Sudipta also asking me that, sir, how can we get comparative graph, male and female, for the coding? Comparative graph? That is the bar plot you will make there, na? Non-linear equation. What you want? The coefficients of the beta 0, beta 1, beta 2, that is for the linear equation. For the non-linear, you have to use the lasso, ridge, and elastic net. You could apply there. It is the machine learning algorithm. Okay, it is not in the descriptive one, Sandeep. That would be in the machine learning, where we will learn the linear regression, logistic regression, elastic net, ridge, and that lasso. Okay. And comparative graph is for male and female is the categorical. So we could make a pie chart, or we could make a bar plot only. Okay. Is there somebody else? Someone has some questions? Which time series, Rahul? What you are asking about the time series? Which time series? I could not understand. You are talking about the method, or you are talking about the data of time series, Rahul? Method, because it is not there is no seasonal variation in this data. You know that in the confirmed cases there is no seasonal variation. So I have used the exponential smoothing method here. Okay. Otherwise, we could use the ARIMA also, auto regression integrated moving average model. SARIMA we could also use for the seasonal variation model if we have. So there is no seasonal, secular trend is also not there. A secular trend was there, level was there, but there were no seasonal variation. Okay. So I have used that exponential smoothing, the updation model I used for that. We could use ARIMA also if you want, auto regression integrated moving average. Okay. Is it clear, Rahul, to you? Anybody else have any question, or we give up the class? It is a 6:55 now. Okay. Esther, are you getting today? Any doubt?
Yes, sir. Everything is clear, sir.
Okay, okay.
No, sir.
Thanks.
No doubt.
No doubt. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. And nobody has any doubt? Okay, so we meet tomorrow and we see some decision making. The if conditional statements we will see, and the for loop, while loop, and repeat loop. We will see these all tomorrow. Okay, and tomorrow is the last day of our session. Okay. Thanks everyone.